Well, fellas, Ibrahim Traore is landed in Russia. Congratulations. Pikama Kofi, yeah. He has landed in Russia. He has landed in Moscow. Very interesting way. He's in Russia to commemorate the Soviet Victory Day, which is a celebration in World War II. So clearly showing his side, showing his stance, showing his loyalty to Vladimir Putin. That's interesting because at this very time, Putin needs allies and friends because he's been pushed to the side by everybody, especially when you talk about everybody, you're talking about European. Putin is pushing back against a lot of countries. He needs allies. He needs people to show him loyalty. And I'm sure he will never forget. It takes guts and courage for an African president to jump in his aeroplane and go support somebody the West doesn't like. It takes guts. That's why you see many coward presidents here that couldn't even speak a thing. Only South Africa had the courage to go and take the country you don't name to court for things happening in Palestine. Many African coward countries, they folded. Some because they believe in the Bible. They think, whatever is in the Bible is what. Anyway. So it takes a level of courage and a level of guts. This man, 37 years old, 37 years old only. That shows you again that wisdom has absolutely nothing to do with age.
Captain On the grand stage of global power, one figure walks with quiet strength and fierce purpose. As Captain Ibrahim Traore stands shoulder to shoulder with world leaders, he carries more than the pride of a nation. He carries the heartbeat of a continent. This is not a symbol of allegiance. It is a declaration of presence. Africa is no longer knocking at the door. Africa is stepping through it. Bold, sovereign, unstoppable. To every young African watching, this is your call. Your face belongs in the halls of power. Your voice belongs in the decisions that shape tomorrow. From the resilient soil of Burkina Faso to the global arena in Moscow, the message is clear. This is the era of African resurgence. This is how we make Africa great. In May 2025, a moment of symbolic and strategic significance took place. While much of the world looked to the east for signs of shifting alliances, a VIP Russian aircraft, the Il-96-300, took off, not for Beijing or Berlin, but for Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso. Its mission, to pick up Captain Ibrahim Traore, the young and defiant leader of Burkina Faso, and bring him to Moscow as a special guest of President Vladimir Putin. This moment, seemingly small in the chaos of global headlines, carried immense weight for Africa. It represented the repositioning of a continent that has long been a passive player in global politics, now stepping into a role of agency, strategy, and strength. Captain Traore, representing not just Burkina Faso, but the broader AES bloc, the Alliance of Sahel States, is being recognized not for compliance, but for courage. His presence at Victory Day isn't a show of submission. It's a declaration. Africa is no longer on the sidelines. The AES, consisting of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, was formed as a response to shared challenges: terrorism, economic instability, and Western interference. What began as military-led transitions evolved into a broader regional vision for sovereignty, security, and self-determination. Each of these nations has faced immense pressure from international institutions and foreign governments, particularly France and the EU. Traore's trip to Moscow is not just symbolic, it's strategic. It shows that the AES bloc is seeking allies who respect their sovereignty and who see Africa as a partner, not a project. Russia's engagement with Africa has grown significantly in the last decade. One man stands out with quiet defiance and raw symbolism. Captain Ibrahim Traore, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, just turned heads in Russia, not with words, but with presence. And yes, it's the pistol on his waist that stole the show. From viral fame to geopolitical symbolism, was it security, a statement, or something deeper? One of the most striking moments during Traore's visit was his first diplomatic meeting, not with a Western power or Russian oligarch, but with President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. The symbolism was powerful. Two nations under sanctions, two leaders demonized by Western media, standing together in solidarity. Maduro, who greeted Traoré warmly, later told reporters he was very happy to meet President Traoré. That phrase, simple on the surface, carried deep diplomatic weight. It marked a new chapter in South-South alliances, the building of a new axis of independence, from Latin America to West Africa. Russia, too, responded with a mix of respect and intrigue. Kremlin insiders noted how quickly Traoré became a crowd favorite, not for theatrics, but for authenticity. Russian media praised his discipline, his lack of entourage, and his focus on direct diplomacy. This wasn't just an African leader visiting Moscow. This was a shift in global perception, where Africa was not a beggar at the table, but a guest of honor. On May 8, 2025, amidst the snow-dusted streets of Moscow, world leaders gathered to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Russia's victory over Nazism. But amid the sea of familiar faces, one man stood out: Captain Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso. Clad in military attire with a pistol visibly holstered at his waist, he arrived not as a mere participant, but as a symbol of something far greater: a new Africa. Confident, unafraid, and sovereign. The pistol wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol. A reminder of Burkina Faso's resilience, of its resistance against neo-colonialism, and of Traoré's own story as a revolutionary leader who rose from the barracks to the presidency. His presence captivated the Russian media and stunned many Western diplomats unused to such unapologetic displays of power from African leaders. It wasn't just Moscow that took notice. Across social media, videos of Traoré's entry trended globally. Young Africans shared memes, tributes, and proud statements. Here was a man representing more than politics. He was a movement, an image of black strength not defined by compromise, but by clarity and courage. This singular moment in Moscow was more than ceremonial. It was historical. It signaled Africa's rising confidence on the global stage and reintroduced to the world a continent not in need of saving, but of recognition.
Yay, yay, yay! Wow, the youngest president, obviously the president of Burkina Faso, the land of upright people and honest people. That's what Burkina Faso means, by the way, for those who don't know.
Why did you want to change the name of Upper Volta?
Yes, because Upper Volta, it meant nothing to anyone, especially to us Burkinabe. It's a name that only reminds us of a colonial past. On the other hand, Burkina Faso is a name drawn from the land itself, which has meaning in our language.
Which means?
Land of honest men.
Anyway, he just arrived in Moscow, Russia, and I can tell you that the reception is quite out of this world. First of all, Vladimir Putin flew him from Burkina Faso. He sent a private jet, and then there were surrounding jets surrounding the plane that he was in, President, obviously, Ibrahim Traoré. And then he got that reception like a king that he is. Obviously, he deserved it. Guys, look at that video. So President Ibrahim Traoré, or Captain Traoré, as you know he's usually referred to, is really making headlines, and unlike the divided states and the divided kingdom, for all the right reasons. He is changing the narrative that has been always spread about the African continent, and I am so proud. Okay, guys?
We, African heads of state, must stop behaving like puppets that dance every time the imperialists pull the strings. When we, the people, decide to defend ourselves, we are labeled as militias, but that's not the issue here. The problem is seeing African heads of state who bring nothing to these people who are fighting, but who sing the same tune as the imperialists, by labeling us as militias, thus calling us men who do not respect human rights. What human rights are we talking about? We are outraged by this, and it is shameful.
Guys, you know what? I'm gonna admit this. Because you know, like, it's proven that your brain can actually like concentrate for 30 minutes and that's it. With someone like Traoré, you can actually, I can literally listen to him for 8 hours non-stop without getting tired or even getting bored. And the interesting part about Traoré is that he doesn't even read from a script. what he say comes from his heart. He say everything wholeheartedly. Like, it's not like he's reading from some script, like, you know, most presidents, how they read or how they prepare, maybe like a day or 3 days before they have to say the speech, and then sometimes they look down and so on. Ibrahim Traore doesn't do that. He say everything from his heart. Anyway, guys, take care, and yeah, God bless.